Hello and welcome back to my channel. So today we are doing a kitchen clean with me. I am going to be doing a deep clean in my kitchen, and I'm also going to be decluttering a little bit. So here is just a little preview of what I've got going on. My oven is super dirty and so is my fridge. I am going to start off by going through my fridge and taking out everything that's old and is expired. I did have a few things that some of our sauces that we don't really use, I threw those away too. I'm gonna be cleaning out the door first, and then I'll move on into the deeper part of the fridge. And after I took everything out of the compartments, I went ahead and washed all of my dishes. And some of these dishes were in the fridge with leftovers that I ended up throwing away. So I'm gonna go ahead and wash all of that. One of my New Year's resolutions is to keep my fridge more tidy. So every time before I put my groceries up or before I put any leftovers away, I try to make sure and go through and make sure that I do not have anything in there that has already gone bad or that has been in there a little bit too long. And I make sure and throw that away before I put anything new in. And after washing my dishes, I'm going to go ahead and wash the little shelving compartments that go on the side of the door, just because those were very dirty. So now that I'm putting back all of my little shelves on the door, I'm going to go ahead and put all of my groceries back where they go. I am trying to keep them organized, and the least used items that I have, I'll put them all the way at the bottom, and then the things that we use the most will go at the top, like our cheese and butter. And the groceries that I have left, I'm going to go ahead and take all of that out and take out all of the glass shelves and give those a good wash. I'm just using soap and water and letting them dry. I am going to go ahead and use my sponge and scrub all of the inside. The bottom part was very dirty. It looks like we had a lot of stuff leaking and dripping, and it just got really crusty. So now I'm putting my shelves back and my fruit and vegetable drawers, which I had also washed. I had stuck some of our meat in the freezer just so they wouldn't go bad. I had also gone grocery shopping earlier, so I'm going to go ahead and make sure I put everything up. Alright, after that, this is actually day 2 of cleaning. Since I didn't get anything done on the previous day, just the fridge, I'm just gonna go ahead and dust the top of the cabinets. We have a lot of spiders in our home. I'm not really sure why, but we do get them a lot, which means we get a lot of spider webs. So I'm gonna go ahead and dust the top of the cabinets with a Swiffer duster, which I recently invested in, and it works pretty good. But yeah, I'm using that, and then I'm also using a rag to clean the top of the fridge, which was really dusty. Okay, so now I'm moving on to the cabinets. I'm going to scrub them down and then wipe them. The cabinets is something I do pretty often just because they get so dirty. They don't have any handles, and especially with kids, they'll use their greasy little hands and kind of just wipe their whole entire hand on the door. So I try to wipe those as often as they need. So like if I look up and you just kind of see grease, I'll try to wipe it down with my rag. I also like to use the Clorox wipes or the sanitizing wipes. Those work very well, but I do try not to use them as often. And I'm making sure I'm opening them and getting the insides, because that's something that I don't do as often. And again, with our drawers, they do not have a handle, so I have to make sure and I get in there very good to get all of the food and greasiness off. I would really like to set a schedule to actually clean my kitchen a little bit more frequently, and so I can keep tabs on like the last time that I cleaned the fridge, or for example, like I dusted, I'm pretty sure that was the first time I dusted up there since we moved in, just so I can keep track of that and make sure I kind of am aware of how often I'm doing it and making sure it actually gets done. So for the backsplash, I am using the Clorox wipes, or I usually get like the off-brand ones because they're a lot cheaper, but I am using those sanitizing wipes, and I'm going to clean all of my backsplash. I'm also going to give my air fryer a wipe down because that's something I also don't do as often, and it was looking a little bit greasy. So I wiped down all of my backsplash. I also went ahead and wiped down my counters. I did scrub them down with a sponge, but this time I also made sure I sanitized them with a sanitizing wipe, just because I don't do that at all. So I just wanted to, I guess, kind of get it really clean this time. And now moving on to the microwave, I am using just a sponge, a regular sponge, scrubbing it down and drying it with a rag. The inside of my oven was so dirty, I actually had to give it 2 rounds. So this is the first round. I'm gonna wipe it off, and then I'm gonna go back in with a second round of that oven spray that I had. I also made sure I used a glove because that chemical is pretty strong. I also did use really hot water, and I added soap just to make sure it wasn't greasy. And then I went back with a Clorox wipe and wiped the rest of it down. So now I am pulling out the stove to make sure I clean the back of it and the floor, since sometimes when we cook a lot of food and like grease will drop and slide down the oven or the side of the stove. I wipe the sides of the counters and the back of the stove with a sanitizing wipe, and then I made sure I cleaned and scrubbed the floor too. I also use a sanitizing wipe on my island, which is something I don't normally do, but I feel like it does get it pretty clean. So I went ahead and used that, and I also wiped the outside of my dishwasher with one of those sanitizing wipes. I'm also going to go ahead and clean out the back of my fridge. So I am going to pull the fridge out and sweep back there, since there is a lot of trash. It was also very dirty. There was a lot of like food stuck on the floor. So I made sure I scrubbed that down, and after I scrubbed it down, I went back with a sanitizing wipe and wiped it down. And now moving on to day number 3. Today I'm going to be decluttering. I'm going to go ahead and start at the top of the cabinets. This is where we keep our plates and bowls. I'm taking everything out. We had a few stuff hidden all the way at the top. And I'm just going through everything, taking it out and wiping down the inside of the cabinets. And then moving on to the other side of the cabinets. This is where we keep our cups, which we have a ton of. So I'm taking everything out. I'm wiping down the inside with a wipe. I am going to go through the cups and see what we're keeping. I honestly didn't get rid of that many. Maybe I got rid of 4 cups, which looking back isn't really decluttering at all. We have so many cups, but I just put them back. And these little tiny cups, these are like shot glasses that are really cute, so I'm keeping them. We don't drink at all, maybe like once a year, but I'm just keeping them because they look nice, and maybe I'll find somewhere to like decorate them later on. And now moving on to our Tupperware, we also have a lot of this. We do have 3 cutting boards, but I'm keeping all of those because we do use them. They each serve a different purpose. So I'm going through everything, and everything that doesn't have a lid, like doesn't have a pair, I'm gonna get rid of. And everything that does, I'm gonna try to organize it by like glass and plastic. Try to keep it organized also by size. So for some reason, we don't have that much when it comes to silverware. I always feel like it goes missing pretty often. We have a bunch of knives, but we don't have that many spoons or forks. This was pretty easy. I didn't declutter anything. I just cleaned and wiped everything and then just put it back. So now our drawers with our cooking items. We did have a double of the scale, so I made sure and I took one out because we don't use those often. I'm only keeping one. Our other drawer, we did have a bunch of random stuff that we have doubles of a lot of things, like some of our cooking spoons we had doubles of, so I tried to declutter that and only keep one of everything and made sure what we kept was the stuff that we actually use to cook. We had like 3 lighters and I ended up keeping all of them. And moving on to our bigger appliances, like our blender, I just gave that a wipe down, and our rice cooker, I made sure to wipe it down and kind of just put it back to where it was already at. And since we used everything that's in here, I kind of just gave everything a little wipe down and put everything back where it was and organized it a little bit. So our pots and pans, we have a few of, but that's just because I feel like we use all of them. I don't have a lot of lids to match them. I would like to invest in an organizer just to make sure everything has its place, because right now everything is kind of just stacked up, and sometimes they don't just get stacked up in there, they kind of just get thrown in there. So right now I'm just gonna wipe everything down and organize it and put it back. And moving on to our junk drawers and our supplement cabinet, I'm gonna take everything out of the cabinets, wipe down all of our supplements since most of them are powder. I just want to make sure they're clean and not really dusty. Anything that is expired or has already gone bad, I am going to throw that away. Our drawers were a mess, and I did have a lot of paperwork that I needed to go through and declutter. So I ended up throwing a lot of that away. A lot of the supplies that we had, like markers, colored pencils, and painting supplies, I organized all of them into their own pile and then put them away in their own section. And all of the paperwork and books under the cabinets, I went through them. I only kept a few books. We have been going to the library lately, so they have a new book pretty often, and they also go to their school library, so we don't need to be keeping a lot of books at home. I feel like I decluttered a lot of those. I kept a few board games and some notebooks for them to be entertained. So in the comments, let me know what your favorite part of your house to clean is, or what your least favorite part is. One of my favorites is the kitchen. We are in here so often, but I also like the challenge of keeping it as clean and tidy as possible as I can. Alright, so thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.